What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Sunday. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great weekend so far. Having a look at what is going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin in the mild green today. We are up 0.33%. Now, if we kind of just hop on over here and have a look at basically what we've been doing, well, Bitcoin essentially has been going sideways, and then we dump, and then we go sideways, and then we dump, and then we go sideways, and then we dump. And currently what we're doing right now is we actually had sort of a double bottom retest down here. You can see we dipped all the way down to 8,356. We had a retest at around 8,388. We did have the bounce back. We were able to get above the 8.5K level, which was acting as resistance yesterday, but we are hitting the next resistance because, as you guys know, with every fall that Bitcoin has, the level that we were previously sitting at now becomes the next level that we have to break. And currently, you can see Bitcoin is trying to push down, falling from the resistance. So we are going to talk about that, okay? Because having a look right here, Bitcoin is getting dangerously close to the end of this apex, and we are looking for a massive move. So I definitely am going to have to talk about that today. Also, the fact that you have presidential, Democratic candidate Andrew Yang talking about the fact that he does believe that we need to start figuring out a way to regulate cryptocurrency in the US, or else we are most likely definitely going to fall behind. On top of that, not to mention the fact that global debt is going to hit $255 trillion by the end of this year. How is that going to affect Bitcoin? Well, there is one individual out there that thinks that it's going to shift from acquiring Bitcoin to basically figuring out how can we defend our Bitcoin. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Also, if you are not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, you're definitely missing out. We do this every single day, weekends, holidays, bull market, bear market. You guys know where to find me. And today is the last day. If you're looking to try to get the Ledger Nano S, we do a giveaway every single Monday. Drop a comment on any video and you are eligible. And just so you guys know, I do have timestamps below, and we are going to rapid fire today's episode. I know you guys got places to be, so let's get going. All right, let me give it a quick refresh live since I was talking for a little bit. Now, Bitcoin dominance back up 0.1%. Bitcoin has been defending this sort of 66% level for quite some time. This is actually kind of good, in my opinion, for Bitcoin. You can see, though, we do have some of the altcoins up today. Centrality, Synthetics still on a tear. iExact, Basic Attention, Educare, Swipe, Nem, Augur, Engine, Bytecoin, and Illcoin all up today as well. Still having extremely low volume, no need to harp on that. Having a look over here on Coin Farm, the shorts were up yesterday. Looks like we're kind of tied in the middle. Still a little bit bearish over on Bitfinex, not too sure why, but it is relatively split down the middle. And giving this a quick refresh, we're back to 38. So basically, Fear and Greed Index, 38.41, 38.41.
Rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season. Rabbit season.
41, 38, 41, okay? Seems to be like what we're doing. So essentially, let's get into the charts. Basically, guys, what you have been watching on the channel for the past week or so, we are still above the major resistance of the downwards trend. As you can see right here, we are sitting above it. This is, whether or not you want to consider it bullish, even though we've been falling, it is bullish, the fact that we are sitting above the resistance. Now, you can see right here why we were stomped out twice at this sort of $8,364 level. Okay, that was a very critical, resistance back here. And then also notice that we are being held down. We wicked up to here twice. And the reason for that is simply because that was also the support resistance. And then finally, when we couldn't get above it here, we dumped, okay? So that is the situation with Bitcoin. Now, this is why we are, and I know someone's going to say, oh, an explosive move, don't you? I'm serious this time, guys. We are getting close to the end of the apex. You can see we have tomorrow, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and that's about it. We really can't stay in here much longer. November 21st, we're looking for an absolute breakout or breakdown, and also you know that Bitcoin doesn't usually get to the end of this. It's a very impatient asset, and if I zoom in right here, I just want to show you how Bitcoin is literally, look at these wicks. I mean, we are just respecting this trend. I mean, Bitcoin is struggling to break out in either direction, but we are coiling up and we are looking for a massive move. We do have this downwards resistance. Now, if we are able to break above it, we still have to get above short term, the 9.1K and then 9.5K. So it's not going to be easy. It's not like we're just going to have a breakout and we're just going to cut through it like butter. We could, but I would think that it would be a little more difficult. Now, on the plus side, we do have these two moving averages. We have the 50 and the 100 on the weekly looking like they want to make a cross. This is considered a golden cross. This is a bullish scenario, but keep in mind that this is probably not going to happen until the week of November 25th or even the first week of December. So we could have a slight pullback, even just a little more of a dip till then. Or we may have put in the bottom. Like I said, I still am anticipating a massive sort of pump out of this area right here. But there is sort of another scenario I wanted to just really quick touch upon. Don't worry too much about this chart. This was when I was basically just going into the different levels, showing how, we always put in a next higher high. But essentially just looking at these fractals back here, if you look at what Bitcoin did right here when it had its run up, it went from basically it was an 80% pump, and then we took, I think it was like a 32% dump, 38% dump. Now this was back in July of 2016, and it does remind me sort of what we're doing right now, where we had that massive hysteria, we went sideways, for a while, then we had that really bad dump at the end, and currently Bitcoin can't seem to go anywhere. But the thing I'm trying to point out right here is you could see we had some sideways accumulation for quite some time, right? We didn't actually have that massive ultimate moon blast off. So the question is, I know everybody thinks we're going to have a spring back here, but what if we don't actually have a major blast off? What if we just kind of do something like this? And Bitcoin just starts to slowly, put in some kind of levels like that. I mean, would you be okay sitting here just having Bitcoin slowly creep back up over time? Because we do know that if we look at the previous halving charts leading up to it, in fact, if you guys didn't check out the video that I had the other day where we had that really big analysis on the halving, which actually I'm going to drop it above. You guys should definitely check that out. There is a potential to just sort of go sideways, right? So one other thing I want to show you super fast is just sort of looking at the trajectories that Bitcoin remains on, right? And you can see Bitcoin sort of just hops from this red line, then we go above here, we trend above the yellow. Obviously, when we're going parabolic, we don't really stay in any line. But currently, the reason why I'm not bearish is because we are still being supported by this red trend, which marked the bottom way back here on November basically, I don't know if it's 14th of 2011, essentially. And you can see right here, this is also the red trend that we followed when we started to have the beginning of this parabolic uptrend. And currently we are still sitting well above it. So even if Bitcoin was to fall down here and touch this red line, it still wouldn't be bearish because we would still be following this trajectory, okay? And that's kind of what I just wanted to point out. Now, having a look at what Cantor and Clark pointed out, he said, look at that volume on BitMEX, 784 million. The last time 24-hour volume was this low was March 30th. Go ahead, look at the date on the chart. Realized and ATM implied volatility all at lows as well. Now let's actually look here and boom. Look at that. Look at where that is. This is the last time this essentially happened. And I don't have to tell you guys what happened. Now, I do want to point out somebody did mention big difference was the spot. That spot was at premium with bullish funding. Spot is lagging here and funding is paying shorts still. So take that with a grain of salt, but he does make a very good point. But nevertheless, that being said, you are noticing that we are struggling, right? We broke out up here, and now what's actually happening is the previous resistance where we were hitting is now sort of becoming the support. So that's what we're doing right now. So if you guys are looking to essentially trade this, it is an interesting situation right now because you would want a confirmation on breaking out to some of those key levels that we've been talking about. Obviously, 8.8K, 9.1, 9.5, to the upside, and I think we've pretty much talked about the bearish side enough. So that's pretty much the analysis for the day. If you guys haven't checked out, if you are trading on Bybit, I do have a tutorial. I will drop that above. And today is also the last day before the competition that starts tomorrow. So if you guys want to get in on some of that free cash, you could do a deposit. They have different, tiers. And of course, they have 50 if you are joining the competition. I will drop the link below for that, but CoinMarketCap, guys, did you hear about what they're doing? So they're moving away from volume and introducing a new metric, liquidity. CoinMarketCap has launched a new metric, liquidity, to rank exchanges. CoinMarketCap sees its new metric, liquidity, to replace dependence on exchange-reported volume, which is often inflated from wash trading practices. So diving on over here, having a look at what's going on. Okay, so, number one is hit BTC. So I'm not too sure about this metric, guys. I don't know if you've ever used hit BTC. I don't mind saying this publicly. I don't like the exchange. I find it to be very shady. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever had trading on crypto. And also, there's no way that hit BTC is doing more liquidity than Binance. Really? Come on, guys. That should just be a red flag right there. So I do appreciate what you guys are doing over at CoinMarketCap, but hit BTC being the number one most liquid exchange, come on, guys. Come on. Let's get real here. Let's get real. So Anyway, getting back to the real topic at hand, we do have the latest figures from the Institute of International Finance, and they are basically saying that the world is going to hit basically an all-time high debt at the end of this year, estimated to be $255 trillion. So this is equal to $32,500 for each person on the planet, or if you want to kind of flip it into something we're more familiar with, that would be about $12.1 million per Bitcoin. Not saying Bitcoin's going to be 12 million, but saying, if you divided the debt by 21 million Bitcoin, well, that's 12.1 million per Bitcoin. That's a problem. So by the end of the year, the world debt will have expanded by an extra 12 trillion. US alone, okay, we're looking at 23 trillion. And you had the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, who we showed a clip from yesterday, just described the current debt trajectory as unsustainable. You think? So he says, he doesn't say, but essentially for Bitcoin proponents, however, the verdict on the fiat economy creating over 12 million in debt for each Bitcoin that will ever exist was quite obvious. Now, here's something that a lot of people have been getting excited for. This is for Democratic 2020 presidential candidate Andrew Yang. He has shown a lot of interest in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and he does think that we do need to regulate it. He wrote in a blog post on November 14th, basically, that cryptocurrencies experience the levels of fraud that they do because of a lack of adequate regulation. Other countries which are ahead of us on regulation are leading in this new marketplace and dictating the rules that we will need to follow once we finally catch up. He explained that cryptocurrencies and digital assets already compose a great deal of economic activity, and he promises to promote security and clarify the tax implications of owning, selling, and trading digital assets, among other things. He also pointed out that in order to effectively regulate innovative technologies like blockchain and crypto, the government has to actually understand it. He actually referred to the questioning of Mark Zuckerberg for Libra, and he said it was embarrassing to see the ignorance of some Congress members displaying, their lack of knowledge essentially for the technology without a base level of understanding it. It's unreasonable to expect proper regulation and major tech companies. And I say the same thing too for anybody looking to invest in cryptocurrency. Should I buy Bitcoin? I mean, obviously I'm going to say, I'm very biased. I will say yeah, but I kind of want to say no, because if you don't know what you're buying, if you don't understand what you're investing in, if you don't know the underlying tech, then, that's not really the kind of investment that you want to make, essentially. By the way, he also said that he has plans to implement blockchain-based mobile voting if he does win, where basically everybody will be able to vote from their mobile device on a verified blockchain, which I do think is pretty cool. But we are going to find ourselves in a situation where it is no longer going to be a race to acquire Bitcoin. Currently, as we speak, that's what we're doing. We're just racing, right? Trying to get as much Bitcoin as possible. I don't know about you. I'm trying to get as much Bitcoin as I can. I mean, I'm dollar cost averaging, hoarding as much as I can, buying as much as I can, because personally, I do believe that Bitcoin is one of, if not the best hedges against whatever the heck is going to end up happening in this potential global economic financial meltdown, right? But you can see right here, according to cryptocurrency researcher Phil Bonello, he says the creation of non-sovereign digital money decreases the power of inflation and taxation. Well, we already know that, but he goes in to explain the fact is Bitcoin, there's supposed to be like a picture here or something that seems like a very big empty spot. But anyway, that was way off topic, but essentially he says Bitcoin reduces government revenue potential by providing a way to opt out of hyperinflationary forces and by altering taxation enforceability. So basically, you are your own bank. Are you ready for that responsibility? He says it further reduces geopolitical borders and allows the cyber economy to flourish, but he does say that you do have these, people that eventually are going to create a lot of situations where you're going to basically move from wanting to try to acquire Bitcoin to having to actually essentially defend your Bitcoin, right? He says Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptocurrencies can be stored, owned, and completely controlled by the individual, but as individuals have more control over their property, they will increasingly need to defend that property. Right now, the dominant use case for digital money is speculation, so he notes that as the drive to acquire, whereas the secondary demand comes from users defending against inflation, asset seizure, taxation, or regulatory hurdles, which is the drive to defend. Now, this is something that you're seeing around the world. You're seeing a lot of protests. You saw the bank run over in France, the protests in Hong Kong, and now over here, you're actually seeing, this footage. I don't know why it's not playing. Yeah, it's really weird. But anyway, yeah, you can see basically Iran is burning down their central bank. I don't know why this video is not playing. Here, I'll play it for you. There you go. I'll just drag it. Okay, so yeah, you are seeing these people standing up and revolting, and I honestly like what Jill Carson said. Now, this is not a new tweet, but I just want to kind of bring it up again. She just reminds us that with the internet, the addressable market for so many companies went from local millions to global billions. What got left out? Financial services, locked in by jurisdictional regulations and currencies. Crypto, for the first time, unlocks a global market for financial services. I'm actually going to give this one a little bit of a like right here. And you could see, even like CZ over at Binance, he says institutional interest in Bitcoin and other digital assets is on the rise. In fact, he did a recent interview with Bloomberg. He said, we're definitely seeing a lot of institutional interest picking up. I think the regulatory uncertainty is still affecting some countries, but there's definitely a race towards crypto adoption now. And I think we can prove it even in things just like we've seen with Backed. You know, we've seen the volume increasing, whereas the first day there was basically nothing. We've been actually hitting all-time highs. CME Bitcoin futures, right, doing quite well. We've also seen Grayscale trying to accumulate, I think it's like 8 to 21% of all the Bitcoin that the miners are coming out with. So how can you say that that is not institutional demand? Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, on a side note, super quick, I just want to just really kind of wrap today's video up, guys. So Bobby Lee essentially said 2 years ago, I thought SegWit2x was the best path forward for Bitcoin. I've since come to realize that it was extremely dangerous and irresponsible to push for a contentious hard fork without replay protection, especially when there wasn't consensus. Bitcoin is the real Bitcoin. Well, at least somebody said it. Also, this is a fun article. I'm just going to drop it below. Not going to go into it, but basically, it's crypto market leaders share their worst banking experiences. I told you guys about my terrible banking experience the other week when they shut my card off for suspicious activity. I was trying to purchase a TV, and then I couldn't call them because the bank was closed, and then they had a holiday on Monday. So basically, I had no money for 4 days. It was my money. I just couldn't spend it. You can see CZ down here. He said he deposited $10 into a bank account. They charged him $3.99 monthly. A couple months later, he ended up owing them a bunch of money. But just to show you guys adoption, check this out right here. This is over from Crypto Viewing. And basically, this is a pub or like a bar in Thailand. And basically, they accept Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. And actually, there was one spot right here I just wanted to play. I don't know if it was the owner or someone that was commenting on it, but just to play this real quick.
So I've been reading for years on Reddit and other Bitcoin websites that Bitcoin is not for selling coffee. But it's strange because I've been selling coffee and beer for that matter for 5 years with Bitcoin and now Bitcoin Cash. And it works just fine, I can assure you.
Yeah, so there you go. He says he's been using Bitcoin and now Bitcoin Cash, regardless of how you feel about it. He is saying that, yeah, I've been using Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, no problem. So there you go. Shout out to Crypto Viewing. I do want to give credit, where credit is due. I'll give you a thumbs up on that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And that is it for me today. So that's it, guys. It's the end of the week. Tomorrow's Monday. We are giving away the ledger. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. Also, do remember that Monday, the markets tend to get a little bit busy again, and we could be seeing that massive move, especially because, it's Monday, it's the end of the week, and we are very close to the end of this apex, and I am looking for a bit of a breakout. So that's it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. You're the reason that I do this every single day. I hope you have a great end to your weekend, great start to your week. I am expecting some pretty interesting moves for Bitcoin come Monday because it's just too much lining up, guys. It's, you have Monday, you have the end of the apex. Lots of stuff happening, but we're going to know what's going to happen sooner or later. Also, don't forget the East does